Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel. Got a couple things I want to bring to y'all today. A little bit of it's disturbing news, but a lot of it is really good news, and some of it is still in the waiting to find out what the news is going to be. I'm talking about this big, beautiful bill. We've got a couple of people on the Rhino side that are not acting like Republicans. Got a couple of them that are bailing out, including Mr. Tillis, that say they don't want to vote for the big, beautiful bill, and they're on their way out the door, including Mr. Bacon as well. So now we have got two Republicans that are not acting right. We've also got John Thune not doing his job properly. He let the Democrat in a committee change the rules on the voting on the immigration. We'll get into that here directly. That part pisses me off. We'll get to that directly, like I said. But first, let's get into something a little different. All right, first off, we're going to jump into the fact that it was an interesting day. It's been actually a wonderful week. Uh, a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, when Doge was in full force and we were hearing about the daily stats, all the things that were going on, all the things they were exposing, Elon Musk I think he was on, maybe it was on Joe Rogan's show, one of the shows he come on, and he says, "You ain't seen nothing yet." As much as Doge has uncovered with all these you said and all these boondoggle Democrat slush funds, he said Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps. He said there's where you'll find the majority of your waste, fraud, and abuse. It's rampant. He said it's worse than any other agency, they have to believe. And here it is, 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, and the Department of Justice has taken up on Elon's leads of getting in there and doing a little bit of investigating of these government agencies, these government facilities. Well, as of today, we have 324 healthcare fraud takedowns today. The DOJ charged 324 people in the largest healthcare fraud takedown in U.S. history. And this is just getting started. $14.6 billion scheme. I said billion with a B, involving 96 doctors passing out opioids, giving people surgeries when they didn't need them, catering to drug dealers and people that were addicted to pills, double taxing them, overtaxing them. Dozen ways from Sunday they found people stealing from the system. They haven't really got into the food stamp thing yet, but that's probably coming. But the Medicaid and the Medicare thing today, they blew the lid off of it. I'm talking full interview with Dr. Oz and about a half a dozen other people. Had a press conference today from the Department of Justice and different entities just explaining what's going on. Pam Bondi Austin's weighed in on it as well today. We've caught them. We're going to bust a lot of people. Some of these people we're going to expedite back to this country in plans. Some of them are here. There's been companies set up here in order to sell medical supplies and using Medicaid and Medicare to foot the bill to get the check wrote for these medical supplies. These companies have come into business, and these are foreign actors literally creating shop here in America. It's syndicated crime. It's organized crime of the highest level. Now let me go ahead and grab my glasses, and I'll do a little bit of reading for y'all. Give y'all some real details, not just the way I tell it. Oh, they dirty. Give me a second. Yes, folks, this is a big one. This is huge, and it's just getting started. It is several agencies involved. That's the way we do it now. Says the Department of Justice on Monday unveiled a record-shattering crackdown on corrupt underbelly of America's healthcare system. A jaw-dropping 324 defendants, including 96 medical professionals, otherwise known as doctors and nurses, have been charged, and pharmacists have been charged in 50 federal districts. 50 districts, that's all the way across the United States. 12 states in 12 states for orchestrating over a $14.6 billion intention of fraud. Now, they said some of the money was not allocated, but they were trying to allocate it. They caught a lot of that in process. It says largely targeting Medicare, Medicaid, and federal health programs meant to serve the elderly, disabled, and the poor. The takedown, spearheaded by DOJ Healthcare Fraud Unit, coordinated with HHS, OIG, FBI, and the DEA, and overseen by a dozen state attorney general's offices. ones of those states, I'm sure, marks the largest healthcare fraud bust in U.S. history. Today, as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in U.S. history, the DOJ history, it marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from these fraudsters and defend against the integrity of our healthcare system, wrote Master Galeato. Galeato, I don't know how to say that. DO head of Criminal Division. Top dog with the DOJ, head of the Criminal Division. Hopefully, we'll be hearing his name more in the future, where he is putting people under the thumb for breaking these laws. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants, and they rattle off the statistics again. They didn't just steal someone else's money, they stole from you, every fraudulent claim, every fake billing. Let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of it, folks. But it says 29 defendants were charged for the role in transitioning transnational criminal organization alleged to submit over $12 billion in funds to the American healthcare insurance programs. They were trying to bilk the insurance companies for money for payments due on medical devices, whatever they decided needed to be billed for. They were getting away with it, it looks like, but a lot of it was stopped in process. It says, for instance, a nationwide investigation known as Operation Gold Rush resulted in the largest amount of ever charged in healthcare fraud case brought by the department. The charges were announced Eastern District of New York, Illinois, California, Florida, Jersey, and against 19 defendants. 12 of these defendants have been arrested, including 4 defendants who were apprehended in Estonia as a result of international cooperation. So we're importing these folks to arrest them. That's what I'm talking about. Expedite them from across the map to put their ass in jail for this stuff. This is very, very organized criminal overseas, trying to bilk our system, and our system just spins willy-nilly, and I'm assuming a lot of it, maybe they couldn't get the transaction closed, maybe they needed one more person on the inside, who really knows, but there was still a whole lot of fraud going on. Now, they used all kinds of alleged fronts and ways to do this to try to hide their tracks, but in reality, they were catering to the drug dealers, the drug addicts, and to the cash money, which is the greed of the whole situation. Pretty sad. Let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this here.
My name is Matthew Galeotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs.
Probably the WIC program as well. There's probably a dozen programs like that, but I'm sure Medicare and Medicaid were the big two. Now, there is a full interview of this over on Fox News. If y'all want to go watch it, there was about 6 people that get up here and discuss the problem, the highlights, the details, including Dr. Oz, and just breaks down. This is fraud down to a single individual level, one-on-one stealing from maybe somebody's grandmother, to an organized where they're stealing from groups of people in homes, to neighborhoods, to people with all the same numbers. There was dozens of ways that they were finding a way to bilk the system, and only some of the ways were getting immediate payouts, and so they were able to stop payment on a lot of that stuff in process. And I'm just glad to hear that. Hopefully they can stop this stuff, find the rest of it, and stop payment, and hopefully put these guys in jail. They said these guys are going to jail for fraud. They're going to treat them like the criminals they are. I heard that spoken earlier today. Now, one of the shows I do watch sometimes is a guy named Benny Johnson. I'm sure y'all know the name as well. He's went from 2.9 million subscribers up to well over 5 million subscribers in the last month. He's gained 2 million subscribers in a month. And I just want to say that's awesome. For any channel to gain 2 million subscribers in a month or two is just amazing. And it's because of several things, but one of the things I've noticed, they've been putting him on the Gateway Pundit a couple of days a week now because of the fact one of the reasons I watch Benny Johnson is he gets the best interviews. He gets interviews with Tom Homan and anybody in the Senate or the House he wants to talk to. He can get an interview with him. I don't know how he's got the inroad, but he does. He gets interviews with Kash Patel when nobody else can, and that's one of the main reasons I watch him. He stays on top of things. He's a little bit extravagant with his explanations of things. Too many adjectives sometimes, maybe like me, but hopefully I'm not that bad. But all in all, it's good reporting, lots of information. He's got a great team. And here again, he gets an exclusive breaking on Gateway Pundit for second or third time in a week. No wonder he's blowing up. Hats off to you, Benny. And y'all got to hear what Tom Homan says. It's these viral moments that are working, not just on YouTube here with Benny Johnson, but on X as well. Check this out, folks. This is a crazy statement here. This is about AOC going to jail.
Just one final question, Mr. Boorzar, and it has to do with the region of New York and somebody who's in the news a lot lately because she's most likely planning on running for higher office. It'd be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC has come and what looks like to us crossed the line a number of times, but two very curious stories out of her office. One, as soon as you were able to regain your position as border czar, AOC had a criminal alien who was working in her congressional staff flee the country. Now, I can't quite square how that's possible. How is somebody allowed to be a criminal alien in this country and then go work in Congress where you have access to classified material and you have access to a lot of important information? Then AOC has gone on and obviously taught publicly illegal aliens how to avoid ICE. She's done this with some of her colleagues in the squad. Here's the article of the criminal alien staffer that AOC had on staff. Maybe you could just start here and as an explainer to me and to this audience, like, how's this even possible?
It's not possible, and I know that's being looked at. I can't comment on past that. I'm aware of it. We've asked ICE to drill in on that case. It's my information that there were actually. Can't really comment on it. We don't know if it was an illegal status or not at this point. It looks like it might have been temporary status, but I can't comment on the case. It's under investigation. As far as her educating people how to evade ICE arrest, she's really educating them on how to be prosecuted, because there are statutes on the books, federal statute, when you knowingly hinder your removal, that's a crime. When you take steps to prevent your removal after being ordered removed by a federal judge, it's a crime. We have instructed ICE to start prosecuting these cases. If you don't want to open the door, and we have a final order removal, if you don't want to participate in getting travel documents from your home nation, you take steps to hinder your own removal, that it's a crime, you'd be prosecuted. So she can claim she's educating people to constitutional rights. I'd argue she's educating many people on how to be prosecuted. You're going to see that happening.
Sounds to me like AOC is walking the line of legality to the point that she looks like she could actually be charged for the investigation that she's obviously under, because he couldn't say a whole lot about it. Maybe they're just waiting for the trap to close. Maybe they have evidence against her and they're going to wait till they catch her with 2 or 3 acts and go, okay, here, and here, and here, all the little details that add up to, yeah, she's absolutely obstructing. Not just one case, we got to prove it. Let's prove it in 3 or 4 ways in the same case to just put a nail in the coffin on the deal, because it's obvious. There are so many of these Democrats out here that are obstructing, and obstruction is illegal at this point. That's the key right there, obstruction, folks. We've got to get them on that, and they will be prosecutable. And speaking about prosecution, just in, the Department of Justice is not prosecuting, but persecuting that horrible lady in L.A. that let the fires happen, doesn't mind the homelessness, was out of town when the fires happened. You know who I'm talking about, that wonderful city council or mayor over there Karen Bass, City Council, over. She's in trouble. Her and the City Council over their sanctuary city policies, her Gavin Newsom policies, and the anti-ICE riots that they called mostly peaceful. Remember when she did all that? She said ICE was the problem. Tom Homan showing up was the problem. So we've got ICE riots, sanctuary city policies, which actually infringe on the citizens' rights there, and so many things that these people can be probably prosecuted for. But first, we take the first steps of suing them to prove they're in the wrong, and not just Karen Bass, but the city council in LA as well, that love the riots for some reason, that think they now need a paycheck to clean up the riots. This ain't working for Trump. It ain't working for the Department of Justice, and it's not working for the Supreme Court either. All this stuff is going our way. There's no doubt about it. We're having our good days and our bad days, but I've seen it has been a wonderful last couple of weeks for the Trump campaign, for the America First movement. But this lady right here is Miss Karen Bass, has probably made an ass of herself many, many times and thinks there will never be any repercussions because she runs around like she's some kind of little mob boss because she's a mayor. Well, let me just let you know, her time is short. She is going to be put under the collar because Trump got his all his executive orders and all the crap, the executive orders where he can use them now because of the SCOTUS ruling, and because we now can do what we need to do involving sanctuary city statuses versus Trump's policy being enforced. See, a lot of things happened the other day when the SCOTUS ruling happened. Defunding the whole sanctuary cities can now do that. So there's a dozen things that were in that SCOTUS ruling that just pow, 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 helped us with our illegal immigration problem. And these mayors are going. She's just the first. She's just the first of many, many mayors, governors, and politicians in these states that are anti-ICE, anti illegal or anti-American, pro-illegal alien. Well, these folks are going to find themselves in a bind before long because we now have the enforcement power of not just the presidency and his executive branch and his three-lettered agency, but the ruling of the Supreme Court. Excuse me. The ruling of the Supreme Court, which makes it awesome. It says Trump's DOJ sues LA Mayor Karen Bass and City Council for sanctuary city policy and recent rise. DOJ says sanctuary city policy is illegal and indirect confrontation with the feds, and this was inevitable. Lawsuit says LA rushed with urgency to codify sanctuary city law after Trump. I'm sure after Trump got his ruling. Hold on a second, folks. We're letting it scroll over to the next screen. I figured we'd read the whole thing. All right, bear with me. I don't have that high-speed internet. I'm poor boy over here in Waco, Texas. It says Trump DOJ sues Karen Bass. DOJ says sanctuary policy is illegal in direct confrontation with the feds, and it was inevitable. Lawsuit says LA rushed with urgency to codify sanctuary city law after Trump was nominated, thwarting the will of the American people. Well, now that we have this SCOTUS ruling, you're going to have to back off of that crap. We are going to get it done. Now, as far as illegals being on still receiving Medicaid, that's our next topic. It says the U.S. Senate rejects measure to kick illegals off Medicaid thanks to the Democrat parliamentarian. And this is absolute BS. This is a story, folks. No, as of 2 days ago, we only needed 51 votes to pass the whole big, beautiful bill. Well, they did what they call, where they do these vote-a-rama. And when they do that, they pick parts of the bill apart and they kind of throw them out there to see if this is the problem with why the bill is dysfunctional, can't pass. So they had a vote-a-rama, and one of the things that was put up on the floor of the vote-a-rama of the Senate was to take the kicking illegals off Medicaid provision out of this big, beautiful bill. And that was brought up, of course, by the Democrat parliamentarian who was given her job by none other than Mr. Thune, who is our representative for the Senate, right? He's top dog in the Senate. And like Mike Johnson is the leader, Speaker of the House, Thune is the leader of the Senate. And for some reason, and they squawked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. They said this was going to happen. This was called out weeks ago on Twitter, and this is why everybody's so angry about it. We knew it was going to happen. So what happened today is that bill was pulled out of the bill, basically. And so they tried to vote on it individually with a normal 60 vote threshold, because that's what it takes if you try to throw something on the floor individually if it's not in the reconciliation package. So it didn't need 51 votes to get passed individually. It needed the whole 60. Well, they got 54, 56. But at any rate, not enough Democrats to pass. I think it got 56. We needed 4 more Democrats, and it would have been great. Didn't work out that way. We got a couple, but we didn't get enough. That tells you where the entire Senate is. Left-wing Senate is. They want to support illegals at every cause, and they just proved that by 90% of them voting for more Medicaid for the illegals, which is a crappy situation. And I blame John Thune. And while I was over here on Twitter about an hour or so ago, I was scrolling, putting my video together for y'all. And it was actually, what time is it now? 4:43. It's been about 45 minutes ago. 45 minutes ago, Laura Loomer put this out because I hopped on there and it was only 1 minute old and it only had a couple hundred views at the moment, but it started popping. The heart started popping, the repost started popping. And what she said was, I reposted it as well. It says, Laura Loomer says, how on earth did Senate Majority Leader John Thune, at Leader John Thune, that way he gets the message, just allow for 1.4 million illegal aliens to stay on Medicaid? Unbelievable. And I tweeted the same. Un-effing believable. That is crazy, crazy, folks. That's a slap in the face. It's because John Thune didn't handle up on that Democrat. He let her, I guess, he could have stopped. John Thune could have stopped this from ever being pulled out of the bill and voted on separately. He could have not brought it to the not let it been brought to the floor, which that alone would have killed that option. So everybody's mad at John Thune right now, and if y'all were paying attention, Laura Loomer's video is going viral. I mean, 45 minutes, she's got 10,000 hearts on it, I believe it was, thousands of hearts already. That tells the story, folks. Now, there's a couple things I want to show y'all. Great wins. Even though we've been fighting this Barack Obama, Joe Biden, horrible Democrat, socialist policies for about the last 12 of the last 16 years, and now we have a chance to do something about it. For the second time, Trump is really on fire with policies, everything he's getting done. The Supreme Court is working like a well-oiled machine for the most part. The Republican Party is doing a great job, but the Republican Congress, Republican Senate, there's always a couple of squishy rhinos that want to bribe before they'll side with Team Trump or Team America, and it's sad. Every time we got to vote on something, you start seeing who the people who really don't deserve their job are that are in there. But at any rate, years and years ago, when Clint Eastwood was still a young man of about 95, he was at one of these award shows, and he put out a statement. And he was right. Clint Eastwood said, "One day we will realize that Barack Obama's presidency was the biggest fraud ever perpetrated on the American people." And he got gasps when he said that. I mean, the crowd didn't know how to take that one. I mean, that was the extent of that one. But truth be known, he was absolutely right. We have been fighting their policy. What Trump is doing right now that a lot of people don't agree with, kicking people out of the country, doing the tariffs, bombing countries, or bombing the terrorists, making harsh rules that ICE is enforcing, including the alligator Alcatraz. All this stuff is absolutely necessary to fix the problem that, like Clint Eastwood said, Barack Obama created. And we're just now waking up from the fog of how bad it is. who caused it, where we need to start looking to go after these people that must be stopped so they can't continue this business, and we get the old reversal of the policies. Game changer when we got Trump back in there, and hopefully about 90% of everything they've been doing for the last 12 of the last 16 years to destroy our country, Trump can, if not fix it, at least set the rules of engagement going forward to where this can't happen again. You can't backpedal and go back to spending billions and trillions of dollars on wars and USAID and Democrat slush funds. That stuff's been exposed, and now it's time to eject that stuff. Kind of like the first article. Now it's time to expose Medicare, Medicaid fraud, waste, and abuse, food stamp fraud, waste, and abuse, and actually get in there and, now that we got a new sheriff in town, get some of this money back, stop some of this waste, fraud, and abuse, fix our economy, fix our deficit, stop spending money that we don't even know is being stolen. Find it, recover it, lock their ass up. End of story. I'm ready for it, folks. It's coming. I know y'all are too. Everybody's ready for the justice. We've seen a lot of good things in the last several months, including Supreme Court rulings this week. But we have yet to see a whole lot of prosecutorial justice, and I'm ready for that. But here's a little bit of justice for us. We'll call them Supreme Court victories. This is 11 Supreme Court victories that have been handed to Trump and the America First movement, the MAGA movement, over just the last short couple of months. Nationwide injunctions stopped. Transgender military ban. Third country deportations. We needed that. Ending federal DEI funding. Oh yeah. Terminating probationary employees. Meaning, if you've only worked for the government for 3 months and Trump wants to fire you because Biden hired you, or you only worked there a year and Biden hired you to be part of some agency that Trump doesn't need, he couldn't fire you before because you were a new employee. Well, that crap's out. So the cuts that Doge is doing or trying to do involving trimming enough fat on the amount of employees that our government had in all these agencies, well, now they don't get to cry, I haven't been here my 2 years, my 1 year, my 6 months, but I haven't been here long enough to get fired. Well, that whole thing is out the window. Terminating high-ranking executive officials means Trump can fire anybody in his cabinet, anybody in any three-lettered agency that is connected to the executive branch. He can get rid of them. Let's say Biden's got some people in the executive branch that are still leftovers from the last administration, the last couple of administrations. Trump can at will go, I think you're a Democrat, you're out, and get it done. Also, there's a couple more. Revoking TPS for Venezuelan migrants. That's temporary protection status, which was keeping them here. We could not kick them out of the country. And it's not just Venezuela. It's 20-something countries, I believe, we're up to the number today, including the Haitians, which is 500,000 people right there. Wow, that's a huge win, folks. Revoking parole status for CHBN migrants. That means that if you're here and you're on parole and you are an illegal, they can kick you out. Social Security data access. Before, we were being injunction to try to stop Elon Musk and his Doge team from coming in and accessing people's identities, their information through the IRS for Social Security and things like that, and so through Social Security and the IRS. And because they said, oh, it's a data breach, people are not going to want to give up their information. Well, your information's already out there, to be honest with you. But now Social Security can actually be investigated thoroughly by Doge because they had a court injunction which was stopping that. But that is over and done. All right, let's see here. We got a couple more. Rejecting intrusive discovery order number 1. Intrusive discovery order number 1. Rejective intrusive discovery order number 2. I don't know what that is. Let's ask Grok real quick. Let's see if I can get over here. What's it called? Rejecting intrusive discovery. Let's go up here. Hope y'all don't mind. We're gonna grok it together. I'm gonna ask Grok a real question. Real quick. Okay, here we go, folks. Bear with me. What is intrusive discovery order 1 and 2? All right. Let's scroll over. Let's see what Grok has to say. I'm going to scroll this way. That way y'all can see the Grok. The reference to rejecting intrusive discovery order 1 and 2, rejecting intrusive order 2 in the White House Post ID, blah, 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 likely pertain to the recent Supreme Court. Hold on. Put all this stuff in my way. Oh, crap. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I think I can read it now. The Supreme Court ruling reinforces the critical need to dismantle bureaucratic overreach and prioritize America First policies, halting federal DEI funding and terminating probationary employees, and key steps draining the swamp. Okay. And all right, let me back down. I'm scrolling here, folks. Says the ruling reflects a broader policy shift toward reducing federal bureaucracy with termination of DEI funding. Probationary employees backed by Trump-Vance administration agreed to freeze an essential hiring, rescind burdensome regulation, changing narrative of unchecked administrative growth. I mean, they ain't got to explain to anybody when they want to fire them. That's what that means, folks. That's what I get out of it. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but between Grok and a couple of people, that's what I got. Grok's not always right, you know. Now this here, I thought would make a great end of the video meme for you. This is what Grok can do for you, folks. This is how good Grok is today.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me.
Uh-oh, this thing's spooling. I might have to restart it. Hold on.
Tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Damn.
Twice.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Damn.
I love it, folks. That's just me for you, though. Like, subscribe, and share to Voted Patriots. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. News coming from all different directions, all kind of stuff going on in the world today. But it does look like we've got some wins We got some exposure, got a little bit of comedy at the end, and hopefully we got some resolution to a whole lot of things starting ASAP because of these SCOTUS rulings, which is huge win for America. I cannot tell you what a wonderful week Trump has had. He has had 20 things happen this week, including those 10 or 12 things I read off to you, those 11 things I read off to you. Trump's had about 20 things in the last couple of weeks go his way. And now we're just waiting on the big, beautiful bill. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. Call your senators. If you got their number, call them, tell them, pass that bill, please. We need it. We need it done. I don't care what it costs. I know it's not good on the deficit to add to the deficit, but all in all, we have to get this done. Even if it's more expensive than we want to spend, because I don't agree with the 100% of the bill either, but we're going to have to get it done ASAP. That's what I got for you. If you don't agree with that, let me know in the comment section down below. We'll argue together. And enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Monday afternoon. Like, subscribe,